All right. Good afternoon. We're small, but we're mighty, right? I have a feeling that a lot of the agents are at the Anaheim Convention Center right now for Reimagine.
Yeah.
Officially started today and tomorrow as well. If you're a member of the California Association of Realtors, you're part of the local board, you have access free of charge to go to the convention to see amazing exhibits, speakers, and all the fun stuff that the California Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors has. So that's probably why we have very low participation. I'm getting it. It's last week. It was hot in here. So many people were in the office last week, but it's okay. Like I always say, if it's 100 people or one, the show must go on. All right. So I appreciate you all. So thank you. And on top of it, we have our chili cookout. Yes. And I contribute and brought the hot dogs. We're gonna have chili hot dogs. And they're one of the best too, by the way. You cannot go wrong with Costa, right? So I'm grateful and thank you, and I appreciate you all. Ben, let's give Ben a shout out. You're gonna be talking for a little bit too. So you know how we start our team meetings, right? So our mission, our belief, and our vision. Our mission is to provide agents with a place where they will be empowered, trained, and motivated to experience growth, wealth, and a legacy that allows them to live their best life possible. Our belief, when the values of your own company align with your own beliefs, you know you found your professional home. And our vision to achieve amazing professionals and personal development so that KW South Bay remains the agency of. Give yourself a round of applause. All right, next slide, please. All right, so before we have Natalie play this, I want you to pay close attention to this market snapshot. This was straight from Mega Camp when we went last month in August. Now, it is about a 15-minute video, but it definitely has a lot of nuggets and stats of where the market is. He's giving us projections for 2024, okay? So it's going to be a combination of Gary talking, Martine talking, but it's such a great segue. And the beauty is you can also download it and provide it as a resource to your client as well. Okay, so without further ado, next, play that video. Always has to be a display.
Hi guys, we're back with your August market snapshot, and don't forget to subscribe and also like or comment in case you want to tell us what you want to hear next time. Ruben, we're going to be talking today about all things market update with Gary Keller. So what are the three things that we're going to talk about first?
Yeah, so we'll go into Gary's, term that I think he may have coined, the rolling recession. Yeah. We'll get into affordability, some interesting facts about mortgages that I found really illuminating, and then a little bit about what decisions people can make that might help them sort of manage that affordability burden.
Love it. So rolling recession, huh? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so let's start with hearing what Gary has to say about it in this clip.
I truly believe that we're headed towards something I've never seen before, and that is a rolling recession. Meaning that sectors in the economy, one's doing well while another one's not. So right now, real estate is the sector that's having a recession. Any industry right now that is driven by the cost of money is having a recession.
Ruben, what do you think of when you hear the word rolling recession? What does that really mean?
Essentially what that means is that spending inside the economy is shifting from one place to another. We saw that during the pandemic. One of the big movements then was moving from buying services, which weren't available anymore,
Sure.
and shifting that into goods. Well, we've seen that shift back now. We're buying more services. Well, high interest rates are going to have a similar effect. We're going to move away from things that have a essentially cost of money associated with them, things like cars, things like houses, and move into things people are more likely to purchase with cash.
When we think about it, we're in the housing industry. People who are watching or thinking about housing, we're part of that right now, right? We're
Yeah.
part of the recession right now.
Exactly. We've been contracting now for going on our second year, right, in terms of home sales. So yes, we are in a recession by the definition of, something that's shrinking.
Sure. Well, and we're seeing that in a lot of different ways because the unexpected rises in our mortgage rates coupled with wages weren't outpacing inflation was kind of an issue. Gary dug into that a little bit as well.
And that's where we are at 3.5 right now. It fundamentally can't get much lower. Okay. People have jobs, by the way. Here's an interesting stat. And if you just go to the far right and the yellow line or gold line, and it says 9.5, that means there's 9.5 million job openings. But notice there's 5.9 million unemployed. Here's what that means. That means that 5.9 is the 3.6%, meaning that when you have about 5 to 6 million people unemployed in the United States, you're considered at full employment. So we're at full employment, and there's still over almost 4 million jobs that are still available, that are, right? This is how wages go up, because immediately, if there's 4 million jobs that need filling, but there's no additional people looking for them, what do they end up doing?
To offer more, they have to take it from their competitors.
They'll go right up to your people and say, hey, you can come to work over here for X amount.
What I heard him say is that we have more job openings than people who are unemployed. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that pattern actually kind of started before we got into the pandemic, which they can see in the graphic. But during the pandemic, it got really out of whack. So now we're, have almost 4 million jobs in excess of the number of people we have unemployed right now,
Wow.
Which means even if we just employed all those people, companies would still have open positions, right? So that creates a lot of sort of, in a sense, think of it as like pressure on things like wages. But it also gives us a lot of room for things to slow down before we see unemployment start to move up, right?
Absolutely. So there's a few other things that he talked about. And I think the next one we're going to talk about is really more in lines of affordability.
Yeah, that's right. And again, let's hear what Gary has to say about it and we'll break it down.
The last decade, you've been living on incredibly cheap money. And that's been part of the problem, right? Now, how that translates, by the way, is into this slide right here. And that is, right, the price of a piece of real estate coupled with the cost of money creates what we call affordability. And so when we look at the affordability, it still only takes 29% of someone's income on average to finance their home, guys. Now you look up and say, oh my God, 29%. When I got in real estate, it was like 50%.
That's so crazy.
And I thought that was normal. Yeah, and people say, I don't want to be house poor. Depends on where you are in life, to be candid with you.
Yeah, so there we heard Gary talk about the fact that when he got in the industry, it was 49%, which is kind of astonishing, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
what is that really?
Okay, so that graph that Gary was talking about, you saw that in 1981, it peaked. It also in 2006, it peaked. And then also in 2020, it peaked. So what that tells you was during those years or those decades, right, there was a peak in property value that went up. And that's when we started seeing, a lot of people buying real estate. It happened in 81, it happened in the late 90s, and it happened in 2006 where it just skyrocketed. And then we started seeing that also during pandemic, right, in 2020. Even though it was an interesting time for pandemic, we were not remotely working, right? We were working from our homes, right? But because of the low interest rates, guys, people were in the frenzy of buying because they were taking advantage of what? The very low interest rates. Affordability. Yeah, absolutely. The affordability of it, right? So this is why we started seeing, multiple offers, 50, 75, 100,000 over asking, right? It was a great time to be in real estate as a listing agent, right? If you would list the property, immediately you had 10, 15 offers, right? And now that has transitioned now, right? Now we're seeing where it peaked, it's stabilized, and now it's still because of employment, right? People are still working. We haven't really seen it dip. It's teetering, it's right at the peak, but it's going to be very interesting to see all this. All right. All right, Nat, go ahead and continue with the video.
Really mean? What does the stat 29% really mean? Well, we're looking at, assuming a median family income, 20% down payment, median price home. So that sort of gives you an idea. We're in the middle there, something like 50% of people are going to be below this, above this, depending on their income and the price house they choose. And we see the historical average of 27%, which we are above, right? So that does kind of point to the idea that things are a little less affordable than would be like normal.
Right.
And we also know that typically if you're getting a mortgage, somewhere around 36% of kind of a debt to income ratio is going to be where you're going to get capped out. So as we get closer to that, it's definitely going to feel, a little bit tighter. And one thing we can look at, Jen, is sort of what we dug up and what Gary has to say about the fact that, how mortgage rates are broken down right now is also playing into inventory and the sort of sense that things are unaffordable. So let's look at that clip really quickly.
I'm walking around thinking this is horrible. This is not horrible. This is not horrible. It's only when you look back over the last 10 years, right? But again, even 29%, you guys, isn't bad, right? So here's the challenge. The reason why everybody thinks it's bad is because everybody either financed or refinanced their home in the last decade. So 89% of all mortgages have rates of 5% or less, right? 32% are 3% or less. 27% is 3 to 3.5. You get the picture, right? There's only 4% that are at 6 to 7%. That's because they financed last year.
What I'm taking away from this, when I'm talking to a client or a fellow realtor, we should be talking about the fact that, number one, we're not super far off of the average affordability to add housing into the mix. And the number of folks out there who have equity in their homes is really going to impact the other conversation we were just having about the 89% of folks who have a 5% or less mortgage rate, right? They don't want to get rid of it, but there's some stuff going on in the background that we should be talking about with them and putting a plan together for how they could still make a real estate transaction work for them. Am I catching all that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jed. We saw that 89% of mortgages have 5% or less, right? And that sounds like kind of a daunting stat because we know that people with low mortgage rates are unlikely to want to move.
Right.
We get that mortgage rate lock conversation, which we've had on, previous market update videos
Golden
that we've done, right?
Yes.
But yeah, let's break down kind of like what the mortgage universe looks like even a little bit more. And let's jump to Gary talking about it real quickly in terms of like what percentage of homeowners actually sitting on, 50% or more equity.
So look at home equity, right? Where's the opportunity? We have 87 million homeowners, by the way. 39% own their home outright with no mortgage on it whatsoever.
Take a minute. That's 4 out of 10 homeowners own it outright, no mortgage.
Yeah,
Blows me away.
Yeah, no debt on it whatsoever. Almost 40% of all.
Who are all these people?
Yeah, they're there, man. 61% have a mortgage, but if you dissect that, 31% have at least 50% equity, right? Just think about that. Literally 70% of all homeowners have at least 50% equity. 40% have no mortgage.
They don't know what they're sitting on. One, they probably don't know how much equity. I think you made that point. And they don't know what that equity could do for them if they want to buy another house, regardless of interest rates. They have options that only we can educate them about.
So, wow. I mean, over 70% of homeowners have more than 50% equity in their homes. That is phenomenal, right? I mean, it's good news.
Right. I mean, I think it gives people more options. And I think, to me, and you can speak to this more, Jen, as a realtor, I suspect that a lot of these people don't understand that they have this much equity, right? Because the value of your home isn't something that's like reported to you and like written in stone at any given time. It's shifting with market conditions. So I think there's an opportunity for our industry to kind of help communicate this to people.
Absolutely. So this is when a great realtor can sit down with a client and say, okay, this is what you owe. This is what your home is worth. And then this is how much equity you have that you can roll into the next purchase. So to the point that you were making earlier, that Gary was making, we don't have to stick to just the 20% guideline. You can avoid having a larger percentage of your home that's really working against you with that 7%-ish interest rate by putting more money down. So less money is affected by the interest rate, your payment's a little bit lower, maybe you're lower than that affordability index that we were talking about earlier too. So having that full conversation is really important to a buyer or a seller, especially a move-up buyer in this market.
Yeah, I think it's extremely salient right now that people be having these conversations with their clients.
Yeah. Absolutely. A great realtor is going to be able to give you all of that information. So we should definitely be working on that. And then the last part that we were going to talk about today was how many of those homeowners are confused a little bit about the way that their money is spent. So not just the equity in the home, but you and Gary did something really interesting in the market update, comparing buying a really nice car to what your mortgage rate would look like with today's rates.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, one of the challenges there that we saw is that, the way the income side of the conversation works is you could kind of get to that car a little bit sooner than the house. But we think that that's probably, not a great idea. Let's hear what Gary kind of had to say about that.
So this is just perspective, right? So let's just say you bought a $200,000 home in 2014, 20% down, 4% mortgage rate, and you own a truck you bought in 2015. Your mortgage payment is $1,597 a month. Your truck is paid off, right? So this is right. So let's say that you stayed in your home, but you decided to buy your dream car. So your budget home and your dream car. You keep your home the way it is, but you buy a 2022 Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
They're great looking cars.
Mm-hmm. By the way, that car payment is more than your mortgage payment. Now, when you see anyone driving a Jeep Wagoneer, you'll think about them differently, right? Take out the interest deduction, so your debt's $3,300. So your total spending debt is $3,300 a month. Everybody with me? Next slide. So let's say that you flip it and you keep driving the truck, and instead you buy your dream home, right? Look what happens. You keep your truck, sell your home, now worth $400,000, and buy your dream home for $650. Use your full equity as a down payment. You pay 7% mortgage. Look at your payment. Look what you're spending.
It's $50 more to own an appreciating asset versus something that lost 20% of its value when it came off the lot.
$50 more. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So again, wow, Ruben, right? People are making these decisions and maybe not having all of the information to make the right one. We're not telling people don't go buy a nice car, just maybe think about it and think about the impact that it has before you make that decision, because it does really impact how much house you can afford right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And one of the things we didn't get into on stage, but that's really the case, is that there's timing involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So get the appreciating asset first. When you could buy the car, you could have a higher debt to income ratio. And so when you hit those income levels where you can afford one or the other, you could usually afford both, but you need to do the house first. And then if you decide that Wagoneer is in the cards for you, like that opportunity will be there afterwards.
I love it. One of my favorite quotes that I think about here is, do the things today that no one else will do so you can do what they can't do tomorrow. Just be patient, get the house now, buy the car later. That's the message.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, if you loved this and you want more, then make sure you come back in September, because we'll be back again for another market snapshot.
Thoughts, questions regarding that 50-minute stats? Pretty interesting information, right? If you really think about it, it's not like the market of 2008, right? where property value dipped. And now we really, as real estate professionals, needed to change the way we do business. We're still here, folks. It's just knowing how to have the conversations with clients. Okay? And that's where you, as the local economist, giving this information will propel your clients to pull the trigger and not utilize it as scarcity, why they're not wanting to buy or wanting to sell. Right? Think about that for a minute. Consulting your clients to achieve more, right? Because there's 50% of equity. What was it? 89% of homeowners have a rate less than 5%. They're out there. The job is you gotta go find it. So. Interesting facts.
Because the appreciation rate.
Yep.
Is like magic in California. I mean,
That's right.
Further across the country.
Awesome. Where is Mr. Yes, thanks.
Sorry, where do we access those, from Connect?
Yeah,
Those
all
like that?
through KW Connect. You should be able to pick up the stats from Gary Keller. This is again from August,
Yeah, right.
last month's mega camp. So it was just a proven factor is that if you know how to have the conversation, then you'll be able to have the ability to convince the clients to buy, sell, or invest, in my opinion. So, all right, next up, Mr. Fred Howard giving us an update.
Am I making too much noise? I make noise, I'm the one that's working at home with the TV on, and if it's off, I get distracted. That's me, just letting you know. Listen, I am going to be a broken record. There's only 3 ways to make money in business, okay? Only 3 ways. You know what it is? Who can tell me?
Work.
3 ways to make money in the business. You can either wait for it, pay for it, or go after it. Okay? There's only 3 ways that you can do it, okay? But I have something that I wanted to add to that, because the heart of real estate beats through 3 things. And I'm gonna sit down after that. It beats through dedication, determination, and drive. Okay? It beats through dedication, which is your loyalty to the business. It beats through determination, meaning that you show up even when nobody else shows up. Okay? And it is your desire. And the desire that I stand on is your big why. If you want to make big money, you have to have a big why. Because your why is definitely going to put tears in your eyes. Can I be real right now?
Yes.
Your big, can I say this? If you are not crying when you talk about your big why, it's not your big why. It's just something that you're doing. Okay? Because your big why is what's going to drive you with the desire to do what you have to do. Now, I'm done. But the next slide is going to show you on Friday, we have a special gift that we're going to be interviewing on Producers Club, Miss Michelle Brown. And we're going to have an awesome conversation. I want you all to blow up the Zoom to find out what this wonderful young lady has to share with this office. And I've known her all my life here at KW. All my life here at KW, I've known Michelle. And so it's going to be a wonderful time. You can glean off her, you can ask questions. And when you are in the presence of greatness, utilize it. One thing that I love about KW is can I put this nicely? Our noses aren't up here. Okay? Our noses aren't up here. If you need information from a producer, all you need to do is go up to them and ask them, and they'll let you know, okay? So I'm done. Remember, do what you do. Make it happen.
Do what you do, right? Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. If you haven't heard Michelle Brown, she has many, many years of experience. She's a broker associate, runs a successful team. She's part of the ALC. She has so many accolades. that I would have to pull a list out. So yeah, like Fred was saying, Friday, September 22nd, 8 o'clock to 8:30. And Fred is going to be spearheading that conversation. So awesome. All right, next slide, please. All right, we have Ben Shoe with Bird.
Everything's great.
Good.
Thank you.
Have a stage.
Thank you. Thanks, Simon. Thank you guys for having me today for some of the new faces. I'm Ben Shoe with First American Tile. I want to have a couple of things I wanted to share with you guys. First one is just a super quick announcement. For any of you guys that are using our My First Am platform, that platform or that software is being sunsetted in November. The new one is called Ignite RE. Basically, it works pretty much the same. Ignite RE, basically what it is, it's a all-in-one, it's all-inclusive. So with that one single platform, you get profiles, farms, net sheets, cost estimators, and you can track your transactions, prelims, all documents, things like that. So we're just kind of merging everything into one. The profile system stays the same. Looking around the room, I don't see too many people off the bat that I think are on the My First Am system. We do try to be much more white glove. So I don't want you to set a self-service station here with full service. So you guys can just follow me out and use it. But for any of you that do, that's what's happening. Reach out to me so I can get you invited onto the new platform. Secondly, pretty serendipitous today that we were talking about, that Gary was talking about the people with equity and who's selling, what's going on with interest rates, things like that. That was really what I was gonna talk to you guys about today. So the one stat that really piqued my interest was 39% free and clear across property, across the country. Now you guys are pretty surprised, or hopefully you're not surprised, but actually in the South Bay, 33% of all properties are free and clear, and this goes across the board of the South Bay. I actually have some stats here, so just to kind of show you guys, okay? In the city of Redondo Beach, you have 2,186 single families that are owned free and clear, 2,156 condos that are owned free and clear in Redondo Beach. Torrance is going to blow you away. 9,048 single families that are owned free and clear in Torrance. Condos, 3,187 condos are free and clear.
This is in Torrance?
This is in Torrance. Now, breaking this down a little bit further for you guys. Free and clear absentee owners. This is a good one. Okay, free and clear absentee owners. Redondo Beach, 556 single families, 787 condos. In Torrance, there's 1,840 free and clear absentee owned SFRs and 1,375 free and clear owned condos. Okay, what does that mean? That means opportunity. These people are not locked into a 3% interest rate. These people have plenty of equity, plenty of money. When they go buy a new property, they're not worried about a 7-8% interest rate. It doesn't matter to them. These are your cash buyers. These are your sellers that aren't locked in. Oh no, but I got 3%. I'm writing this out for the next 30 years. Okay, so this is your opportunity here. Over the last few months, we've really been taking, and this is unofficial because it's just us talking to different listing agents out there. But all the people that are selling are your houses, right? Your debts, divorce, death, divorce, relocation. Okay. But what we are starting to see is a lot of senior citizen absentee owners that are starting to sell the properties. It's those free and clear absentee owned properties. Okay. Why? Because these people have owned the property for 20 plus years. They can no longer depreciate it. Okay. They're in their 60s entering retirement. They're decades away from passing away and giving it to their kids to wipe away the capital gains. And so they kind of and they don't want to be landlords. So, I don't want to hold on to it for another 20 years. The kids don't want to manage it. So let's just take our money and go enjoy it. Let's go travel, do whatever. We are seeing a lot of those coming out, the absentee owners. We are seeing a lot of downsizes as well. Once again, you're free and clear older people that are, not worried about the interest rate, can go ahead and downsize, buy a condo cash, get closer to the beach, whatever they want to do. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunity there. If you guys are interested, we can definitely, in whatever neighborhood you want, okay, or whatever neighborhood you want to focus on, we can pull you the free and clear absentee owned, your senior citizen owners. Okay, we can show you the debts. Oh, I have points too, so.
Remember, I think I talked about the attendees. Remember I had that conversation with attendees? Divorce,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes,
Downsize,
downside,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
How do you increase the NODs?
no real increase in NODs.
No, really?
No significant increase in NODs. Okay, but just in Torrance, over the last year, there have been 185 single-family properties with people that have half and 42 condos just in Torrance. Redondo, you're looking at 44 SFRs and 30 condos. Okay, so much smaller numbers, but these are your definitely following your have to sells. If you guys are interested, we also have lots of letters that have worked out really well for some of our other clients. So give me a call, shoot me an email, we can get you the data, get you some sample letters, get them out there and, just throw them some business, because there's a lot of opportunity. You're still seeing listings come on the market, the one in the Brokers Open PV this last week at 25 new properties. The ones for Redondo Torrance have been huge, so lots of opportunity. Prices aren't going anywhere, people are still selling. Thank you guys for your time, let me know if you have a question.
Yeah,
Sure.
All right, so a question for you.
Mhm.
If a seller wants to, they have over $500,000 equity on their property.
Gary, can you come up here on? It's just hard for you to, the audio to hear. He could, but people on Zoom can't.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we have people still on Zoom.
Okay, all right, so
Thanks.
if a seller has over $500,000 equity in the property, what's the best way if they want to sell? And not get a capital gains, they have $800,000 equity.
If it's
So
their, if it's their primary, they can't, they have to take the hit. If it's your primary residence, after 500,000, less commissions, closing costs, whatever you put into the property, and these are things that their CPA can work with them on. But anything above that, they of course have to see the capital
And
gains.
if they are widowed, so nice, is it 250 or it's 500?
If it's not a spouse, it's 250. If you don't have a spouse, it's 250.
If it's widowed too, you need widowed? If you're widowed?
Technically, it's
So,
CPA, but as far as I know.
and that's
Well, there's a
the
certain time frame that.
Yeah.
Because time frame,
Yeah.
they sell within a certain amount of time, they can still get the 500. I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
positive,
great CPA question though.
But
Sure.
it's a CPA question.
Yeah.
So to be creative, in somebody like that, can they do a 1031 exchange?
No, it can exchange.
Yeah.
Can exchange.
You have to show that you can derive the income. off it.
But that goes back to your point about the number of investment properties that are fully owned. Right,
So if it's investment properties that are fully owned,
would you said owner, non-owner?
yeah, there's non-owner occupied. So those, you have three options for those, okay? Non-owner occupied that are free and clear, owned 20 years plus, right? So you can either 1031 exchange it to something else, okay, and be able to depreciate the new property and perhaps even get better rents on the new property, okay? If you don't want to be a landlord anymore, you can exchange it into a Delaware statutory trust. Okay, that's a whole different subject where I can talk to you guys about. Okay, and basically it's exchanging your property into a different investment vehicle, so that it doesn't have to be real estate. Or your third option is just to take the hit.
So can I help answer Gary's question?
Yeah.
So a conversation that I would have with the seller is, because it's your primary, the only avenue that you can utilize is to tax defer it, is to rent it for a minimum of 24 months. Now you're showing on tax, when you buy your taxes, that this is a rental property with income. Now you can transition that property to a 1031, defer it, buy something else and avoid paying capital gain tax. Yeah.
Depending on the amount of the personal residence, Gary, depending on the amount of gain, they can still do a TST for that as well.
You can still defer on personal through the DSTU. But it depends on the amount, because it's $300,000 is the actual gain because they're married and 500 they're exempt from. It doesn't necessarily mean it's cost effective because the capital gains rate is still preferential to the married. Which is the third option, is what Ben was talking about, is they only got to pay 50%, maybe better than pay 50%.
So take the 15%, because I'm dealing with somebody that's got like 700,000 to 800,000. And she's been with her for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's like 20 years.
Great, good conversation to have an accountant talk.
Yeah. Is the next guest speaker? Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much. I'll leave some cards on the table, and we're always here for you and always here to help.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Sorry, on that side note, one of the things that Ben was saying that I really have a passion for was, think about that for a quick minute, you know. People that have substantial equity here in Torrance, right? You know, there is properties outside of California. And there's properties that are a lot cheaper than in California. And what we're seeing is a lot of people from California leaving state. How do you capitalize on those opportunities, right? When it comes to referring a client to another state, right, and getting commission from it. So you gotta look at the bigger picture too, because there's a lot of people that are selling their assets, packing up and moving back east. You get to buy a bigger home, bigger lot, newer home for a lot cheaper. Okay. I'm thinking like places like Texas, Florida, Tennessee, conservative state now. All these areas. What the Biden stuff. These areas that have, you know, populations that are growing, right? So this is where you become that buffer, right? And consulting around that conversation. You know, because people are now buying more and more investments outside of California because of the caps that they get, the revenue and the profits that they get. You can buy multi-apartments, right, and get the cash flow from it from simply selling an asset here in California. So there's ways in it connecting. This is why we have the KW Connect, right, to connect with other associates from other states as well. So, you know, just food for thought on that. So that was one thing. The other thing was, you know, it doesn't matter what the interest rates are, right? Because if the rates are even at 10%, right? What's going to happen in the near future?
It's gonna drop.
It's eventually going to come down. So it'll give an opportunity for the client to refinance their mortgage, right? Have a lower payment and be able to, you know, do something. Or keep that same mortgage payment, right? Even though they refinance the property, but what happens when you're still paying the same amount of mortgage at a 10% as an example, but you're now down, you know, 3%. You're paying more to the principal, so that means that 30-year loan can be paid off in 15 years, right? So these are again conversations we can be having, but people are afraid to because of the interest rate being so high. Don't fear the rate. Okay, that's what I said. So good information, Ben. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, next slide, please. All right, next up, Mr. Chris. Chris, welcome back. I'm there. You just came back from Rome. Yeah. So you might be a little jet lagged a little bit.
Not so bad. Got back at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Oh, wow.
Seem to be okay so far. So we'll see how tomorrow or Friday, if it kicks in or not.
You get a 10?
Yeah, I got a lot of sun. It's really hot there. Was for the first 2 days. I don't know if you guys have been there. I had never been there. It was on my bucket list. It truly is amazing. The city is so much culture and history there. It's incredible. It truly is. I can't even explain it to you. You guys will blow away what you get. My dog, Coliseum. Coliseum was great. Went to Pompeii. I saw Florence. I saw all that stuff. It's spectacular. Yeah. Their train system is amazing, you know, any bullet train is crazy, yeah, they go up to like 300 kilometers, like 187 miles, it's crazy. The only crazy thing that I remember is their streets are about as wide as a spring, and that's like a 4-lane. With buses going through, and pedestrians, it's crazy, they're just all over the place. Yeah, so anyway, that's about Rome. If you want to know more, come see me. I got a lot of pictures as well. Unfortunately, I left. I came back. Rates are still in little high sevens, depending on FICO score, a little program. I put in my request to Powell, but he didn't listen to me, and so he's not doing anything, which is a good thing because they met today. They're meeting tomorrow as well. Looks like they're gonna pause. That's what we're anticipating today. The market's already read that in. That's gonna pause today, which is great. Kick it down the road for November. They're thinking now about 70% chance they're not gonna do anything in November. So this might be it. We might be past it. So we're in the 9th inning, which is great. Because here's what I know. Values are gonna increase. Every industry out there that's reporting for Logic, FHFA, you look at Black Knight, doesn't matter. They're all anticipating their 5 to 8% growth, even with rates where they're at. They're also anticipating rates to come down, so we're going to see them slide. And today, I woke up and saw that we just launched a new program. Because they know values are going to go up, with rates coming down, and in anticipation of the increase in values, they now are going to do conforming and high balance conforming limits to 85% LTV, no PMI. And the reason for that is they know they're going to see a 5% growth in the next 12 months. So they're not going to need PMI when they go to sell these loans in 2 to 3 years down the road. So that's just an indication of where the market's going. You know, piggybacking off what they said earlier, I heard it briefly about what they were talking about, how if you can manage to get a hold of the seller, let them know the equity they got, that if they take that, pay off their car loan, and then buy a house, their overall mortgage and debt load will be cheaper than where they currently are. It's so true. You saw the numbers that are out there. I'll tell you another tidbit that we know too. Last month, it was reported for the first time ever in America, the credit card debt toppled $1 trillion. Christmas is coming. Yeah, I mean, let that sink in. $1 trillion in credit card debt. So you throw that into these credit card debts, they're at 21 to 25%. Those payments are larger than charged. So when you pay off your car and you pay off these credit cards and take whatever's left over to buy the new house, even if they take a 7.25%, 7.5% interest rate, their overall cash flow each month is in a better position. These are great conversations to have with the client. It's exactly what they were talking about earlier. It's so true. So anyway, I just wanted to piggyback on what I heard earlier, and Ben was talking about it as well. There's so many homes here that are free and clear. People just have a lot of equity. You just have to learn how to sell it to them to get yourself into the door. So, yeah.
Quick question. I saw a headline referencing transferable mortgages. That's a very small opportunity for people that are locked in at a low rate that can transfer that to a buyer, or somebody that owns a home at a low rate that can buy a house and accept a mortgage at that rate.
Right. So they're called assumable loans. Okay, so the assumption feature allows that to happen. Unfortunately, conventional loans don't offer that. That was something that was there before that long ago. That's fine. FHA loans and VA loans do have the assumption feature. FHA loans, to that point, it's an actual really good feature for the seller. So basically, let's say that someone refied on their FHA loan 3 years ago. They got a 3% rate today, right? So they want to sell their property. So when they sell their property, they can sell their mortgage with or to the new homeowner. So let's say that the loan balance was 500,000, right? And the value at the time was, let's say, 550. All right. So now today, here we are 3 years later, value is now 700,000. They still owe 500 grand up, right? So when they sell it to buyer A comes in, has to pay the difference in down payment. So they can't come in and just put 3% or 5% down. they have to cover the difference between sale price and the loan amount. However, they take over that loan at 3% that's been paid on for 3 years. So now they've just bought the lower interest rate and they bought the principal reduction because that borrower or homeowner has had that loan for 3 years. It's only a 27-year loan. So they bought all that equity as well. So it's a great feature. If you guys want to hit that up, you probably can get to Ben Sue. He can give you reports if you have FHA loans here in the South Bay. Target it. Why not? I mean, it's a great feature for you to actually sell it to the potential buyers that are out there. Put it on your signs because this home comes with the mortgage at 3%. I think everyone's going to stop their car and go take a look at that house, right?
Yeah.
And think about it. If you have 2 houses that go on the market at the same time that are next to each other, one's red, one's blue, they both have the same bedroom and bath makeup, the same dynamics of the neighborhood, right? But if one has that FHA loan on it that is assumable, isn't that worth more in value? Right? It just is. So it is something that's out there. Yes. Thanks. All right. So I do have a class coming up next Tuesday or Thursday. It's going to be at 11 o'clock here. It is a lunch and learn. This is designed for our first-time homebuyer seminar that we're giving in October. So October 14th, it's a Saturday. We're having a seminar again for all first-time homebuyers. But if you haven't been to one and you want to get brushed up on your skills so that you can talk to your potential clients, come to the training that we're going to do next Thursday so you know about it, about the different programs we're going to explain on that Saturday so that you guys are prepared. We want to do that so that we can start a marketing push so that you can get it out to your sphere of influence to get this place humming. Last time we had about 80 people there. It's crazy. It is a great event. Everyone walks away feeling that they got something and they feel like they got something that's worth value because there's so many people. It's just a good turnout. All right. So that's all the good stuff. Let's get to the fun stuff. All right. So I was gone for a week, but our fantasy football leagues are kicked off. So we have 2 divisions, and the first division is the CCM division, and in first place is CD's TD's, which is Cheyenne. It's Fred. Fred's in second. Fred's even looked at it. But in third place, it's the although it's really hard, I can see it. And then another division for cross-country division, Megan Minions, who's Leanne, she's in first. OnlyFans is it's OnlyFans, but it's a dolphin, or sorry, the cowboy thing. That's and then actually that's someone else. I think it's Jennifer. And then there's the big 2. So those are the division winners so far. I'll keep you posted. I'll put them on the board so everyone can see it. Let's see, where are you?
I don't know, where am I?
Simon's in 9. But he's doing better than the alpha dog, Zero over there. It's the nightmare. This nightmare team. Simon's team is called the End Zone Renegades.
And so renegades.
And then lastly, week 3 is here, so I've got the sign-in sheets for the weekly pick'ems. First week, we had $135, and it actually went to my daughter. No conspiracy. She just started watching football about 2 years ago, but she actually won. She got 11 out of 16 teams right. So she got the 135. Hopefully, we're going to turn. It's funny you should say that. We're going to Vegas City, so that's what I'll give it to her. But anyway, I'll have the sheets for you guys to fill them out and get them to me. I need them by probably 2 o'clock tomorrow, just so that's before game time. So hit me up after me. We got sheets. Any other questions? Okay, awesome. I think I'm tired.
Awesome stuff.
Okay, come on.
I'm coming back to you. All right, next slide. I want to respect your time, and then obviously we have our chili cook-off. All right, so how do you grow your profit share? And we wanted to provide you with a script. So who wants to grow their profit share? All of us. Yeah. The awesome part of working with Keller Williams is you have the ability and the opportunity to grow your profit share by bringing phenomenal agents to a Keller Williams office. Doesn't necessarily have to be this office. It can be anywhere in the US, anywhere around the world, as long as they name you as the person that was the biggest influence of why they chose to join KW, and they put it on the paperwork. Guess what? They fall under your downline, right? Now, in order for you to get profit from an individual that joins, they have to be in production. And then the market center has to be profitable after all expenses. Then a percentage of what the owners get as profit now goes back to the agents that have helped us grow the office. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. So here's a quick little script that you can use. I love doing transactions with you. You are awesome. I told my team leader just the other day how great you are. She will be calling you to thank you for the way you do business. Will you promise me you will take his or her call? Right? Just a simple conversation. We're not asking any of you to recruit. That's why you have me, Carlos, Chris Baker, that we're the ones that are recruiting, right? Recruiting to the office. This is why you're all here. Someone touched you in a way that influenced you to come and join Keller Williams. If it was myself, if it was Carlos or Chris, right? So this is just, again, a simple, take a photo of this. It's just a candid conversation with someone that, would be a great asset, right? Man, this agent is awesome on top of it. Answers the calls, answers my texts, responds back to emails. It would be a great, and you're a producing agent. Remember, if that individual wants to eat Keller Williams, and you are the individual that influence, then that person falls into it. What not to say? Anything negative about someone else's company, anything negative about someone else's broker, anything negative about what you think they may be experiencing, right? In this industry, it's a very, what's the word? Very small, everyone knows everyone. I can be out there, they know me, it's like, how do they know me, right? It's just because it's a small, tight niche industry, right? People know people. So remember, it's not about negativity, regardless of how bad the company is, how bad the agent experience, how bad anyone, you gotta have a positive attribute to it, right? And look at the bigger picture, because at the end, it's not about me or Jen, right? We're duking it out, we're just not seeing eye to eye, but it's our valued clients, the buyers, the sellers that are relying and depending on us to close the deal successfully. They should know the chaos that we're dealing with, right? That's us. This is why you get paid the big bucks to do what you do. The client should not know anything but positive things, right? We're still in the trenches. Now you're going to have hiccups. You're going to have some walls that you're going to hit. That's just the nature of what we do in business. But it's your ability, right? At the end of the day, your understanding of the process, because negotiations, it's not strong arming the other person. If you thought that was the case, I'm going to prove to you that that is not the case. Negotiation is the win, and all. Okay? We're trying to close and finish in the finish line and get to where we get a commission, the buyer gets the home, the seller sells the home. Right? So just food for thought. Okay? Any thoughts, questions, or concerns? Yes.
Great thing about this is that when you get one person, it's not over.
That's right.
I recruited 35 people, I have 200 people in my downline 7th level. Because when they recruit somebody, when you recruit somebody who goes in your first downline, all right, it goes from 1 to 7. And then it starts all over again. So once you reach 7th level, it repeats itself. So just by recruiting one person that has a great experience and then joins, especially if they join our office, because we have a great office here. They're going to get a good experience. And they're going to tell other people about it as well. Or they might have another girlfriend that's in real estate. They're going to recruit her. She's going to become part of your downline. So
it automatically multiplies without you even knowing it. I don't even know
So
half the people in the town.
just to add to that, remember, we have real estate schools, so even newly licensed agents that join, mid-level experienced, top performers, mega agents, you know, we want them all, right? But the beauty is that Keller Williams also has a platform that allows us to help agents, or excuse me, individuals get their certification, qualified for the state exam. And then once they pass their state exam, then, you know, they have a real estate license. So we have parameters in place that, you know, will help someone that's looking into a new career, maybe retiring and getting into a new second career, or someone that just has the joy of helping people, right? That's how all this profit share works.
When
So,
the family reunion, those people were like 85 years old. They're making 1.2 to 1.5 million dollars a year on their downline. They don't work anymore.
yeah,
They get the money deposited into their account. So, the last time I went to family reunion was like 7 years ago, 6 years ago. They came up and they introduced them. Everybody clapped because everybody knows them in the company. And at that time, they'd made like $1.3 million for that year. They don't even work.
the people that are making this money. So
And
again, I would encourage you.
guess what, people? Man, I think I'm sorry, I'm the top money person for.
Yes, he's one of our.
But anyway, this is your career. When you retire at 60 years old, there's nobody gonna pay you money, but your downline stays with you. You can will it to your son. My son comes every morning from my bedroom and says, well, Dan, still alive? No. No, because it's willable to your kids, so you have something to leave, you have a legacy to leave of all these years in real estate, because people, let me tell you, if you're not working hard on speeding your career, this is not an easy job. You're going to devote yourself to weekends, times, struggles, different people, leave a legacy. Make sure there's something left after you're 55 years old and you want to retire. So.
Thank you, Jim, for sharing. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue. Upcoming events. Don't forget, Reimagine Conference and Expo today and tomorrow are free for all agents that are members of the local board. It is at the Anaheim Convention Center. Next slide. All right, just a quick reminder, KW headshots. Next slide. Upcoming event, career visioning, the 30, 60, 90, success through others, with instructor John Morris. That's October 10th and 11th, 9 to 5. Next slide. And reminder, we have our Halloween custom party Thursday, October 26th from 5 to 8 p.m. It'll be here in the training room and agent lounge. So please make sure if you are planning to participate that you are RSVP to Natalie. We'll have door decorated. We'll have the winner will be announced of who has the best costume. And you must be obviously present. We had such an awesome Halloween event last year. And we're gonna have music and food and all that good stuff. Okay, next slide. Okay, any upcoming, coming soon, listings, you'd like to pitch? Yes, Diane.
Okay, so I am working with, I don't know if any of you guys have met Maeve, but I'm helping Maeve out. So we've got some lease listings coming. We have 9 coming, all in Inglewood, near the stadium. So 2 of them are on Manchester, very close to the stadium, and then eventually 7. We're gonna do 1 unit first, but eventually there's gonna be 7 of them on Eucalyptus, right near Manchester as well. So feel free to hit me up if you want more information. We've got the Eucalyptus ones are both 2-bed, 2-bathroom units, and then both Manchester ones are 1 bed, 1 bath.
Leases, how much?
Yeah. So the Manchester ones, the upper unit is 1875, the lower unit is 1825. That's 1 bed, 1 bath, about 528 square feet. And then the Eucalyptus ones are just over 1,000 square feet, and those ones are 3150. And fully furnished.
How many bedrooms are there?
2. And everything fully furnished, that one's not negotiable, they only wanna do it furnished, so.
Awesome. Anyone else? All right, yes, Jackie.
Market, South LA, near Crenshaw and Slauson, super cheap, fast and quiet. Coming up in the beginning of October, we'll probably list mid to high 9.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, cash buyer with me right now, cash buyer closing in 14 days, up to 900. Good area in San Pedro or Rancho Palos Verdes, Eastview. And we're, even go to Gardena. We're ready to give away $1 million. I mean, yeah, I'm going to go look at a couple today, but got any listings coming up.
Awesome.
What about person?
All right, one more.
Also got cash buyers up to $1 million, we can close in 7 days or less, and we're looking for investment properties, commercial or residential, up to, you know, whatever, money, if it makes money, it makes sense. Ready for close.
All right, good deal. All right, with that, that concludes our, oh, sorry.
I just wanted to announce that I'll be teaching a class about Airbnbs and how to invest in Airbnbs, how to help investors invest in Airbnbs at the South Bay Board in November.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, Matt.
There's no productivity meeting today because of the chili.
That's what I thought. All right, here we go. Well, that concludes our team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all. So now let's,